Welcome to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast. Today I'll be making some observations about the semifinal matchups in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. In this podcast, I make some observations about the semifinal matchups in the 2022 Stanley Cup Playoffs. Eastern Conference matchups. The Tampa Bay Lightning lead their second round matchup against the Florida Panthers 2-0. In Game 1, Tampa Bay scored 3 power play goals as Nikita Kucherov and Corey Perry each scored 1 goal and 1 assist to lead the team to a 4-1 victory. In Game 2, Ross Colton scored with 3.8 seconds remaining in the third period to lift the Lightning to a 2-1 victory. Tampa Bay is leading this series because of special teams. They have 4 power play goals in this series to 0 for the Panthers. Florida is turning the puck over way too many times in the defensive zone, and that will cost them against a team like Tampa Bay. If Florida is to win the series, they will need a much better performance from Jonathan Huberdeau, who only has 4 points in the postseason. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on anchor.fm/hockeywiz777scouting. The Carolina Hurricanes lead their second round matchup against the New York Rangers 2-0. Although Carolina did not have a great start to Game 1, Antti Raanta kept them in the game, and Ian Cole would eventually score the game-winning overtime goal. Game 2 saw Antti Raanta notch a 21-save shutout, while Brendan Smith scored the short-handed game-winning goal. Carolina is a perfect 6-0 on home ice, and proved to be nothing less than dominant while playing on home ice. For the New York Rangers, they had good scoring chances in Game 1, but in Game 2, they were completely shut down by a dominant Carolina defense, which proved time and time again to be tough to play against. The Rangers will look to turn things around on home ice in MSG for Games 3 and 4. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywiz777. Western Conference matchups. The second round series between the Colorado Avalanche and St. Louis Blues is tied 1-1 heading to St. Louis. Colorado dominated Game 1 as they outshot the Blues 54-25 and ended up winning the game in overtime despite the heroics of Jordan Binnington. St. Louis evened the series at 1 as David Perron scored twice to help lead the Blues to a 4-1 victory. This is going to be a much tougher series for the Avalanche than most people thought because St. Louis is a very deep team that has a heart of a champion. The pressure is now on Colorado to respond after the loss because they are heavy favorites and they have gotten bounced in the second round in the past few years. Colorado will need some of their role players to step up because Ryan O'Reilly is doing an excellent job neutralizing Nathan MacKinnon. Listen to Hockey Wiz podcast on Podbean and Spotify. Check out my YouTube channel, Lucas Alyang. The second round matchup between the Calgary Flames and Edmonton Oilers is tied at 1 heading to Edmonton. Game 1 was wild to say the least. Calgary blew a 4-goal lead but recovered to win the game 9-6. Edmonton bounced back in Game 2 as Zach Hyman scored a shorthanded goal to break the 3-3 tie midway through the third period. The Battle of Alberta is perhaps the craziest and most entertaining matchup in the second round, but I wouldn't say that the coaches would be thrilled with the outcomes. Both teams are scoring at will, and it doesn't seem like either team is playing much defense. Connor McDavid is on a mission right now as he has 20 points in 9 playoff games, while Leon Draisaitl has 15 points in 9 playoff games this postseason. Both Mike Smith and Jacob Markstrom have struggled in this series, so it will be interesting to see if this trend continues as the series shifts to Edmonton. In my next podcast, I preview the conference finals of the 2022 Stanley Cup Playoffs.